You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid. What up, Ron?
I'm in Miami, bitch. You know that song?
How long do you think of that one?
I literally just came up with it as I just sat here because
I know, I
I was
can
like
tell.
struggling with this new setup because we're
My place.
not in in the studio.
Do you want to move those books?
No, it's fine.
All right.
It's fine. I'm just
Yeah, so we
this
came
up.
down, Mom and I, with our friends for Art
Art
Basel.
Basel.
Oh my God, you're such a weirdo. A little bit different when you come on these things.
I have to, well, like I said, I have to try to.
It takes you about 8 minutes to get going.
It takes me 8 minutes. It takes you. I'm
Bronny.
I'm
Bron,
going right now. Look at me, rip roaring, riding,
No, you're not. And what are you riding, Bron? What are you riding?
riding the
And what
wave
are-
of this
what are you-
podcast.
And what are you rip roaring?
The energy of this podcast.
yeah.
Someone has to.
Really? We all know, Bronny. Do people get excited when they see me?
Yeah, but do people get excited when they see me? Yes.
No. So it was a nice week, really fun weekend. Came down Thursday night. It's
So
I thought it-
we got to explain what, because
so
people outside of the art world or Miami or celebrities don't know what
the
this.
art world is so pretentious.
But
so
it is a world. It's
Art
a huge
Art
business.
Basel, and Bronny will correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm sure I'm wrong. Start off in what, Switzerland? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it did. Well, Basel is in Switzerland.
Right.
yeah.
Start off in Switzerland was like an art show, and it's grown now to become a international
But
thing.
it's only in a few cities. But Miami
Correct.
is the biggest.
Miami's huge, and it becomes a whole big scene. It's on the bay side, also on the beach side. They put up these huge tents in the convention center, and there's different kinds of events that go on, and it's like a whole week function, and it's fun. They sell art.
What started as an art show, right? Like it literally used to start as like a show where artists from around the world would come, display their art, and buyers from all around the world would come and buy for galleries, for home
You know what it
collections.
was like? It almost reminds. It's picture a street art festival like in a local town,
But extremely
on
high-end.
mega, like 50 million times greater on steroids than you think it would be. All high end, phenomenal, but that's the essence. Just like for the
it's an
wealthy
art
and
show.
the she and who's who.
Yeah, but that's what it started as initially. Now it's just morphed into
Social
a
scene.
celebrity who's who C and B scene event. So for this week in Miami, everyone who's
Fucking
somebody,
rock. It's
quote, I'm
rock.
putting up air quotes if you're just listening.
Which you should be watching. It's better to watch.
Everyone who's somebody is here, right? Like all the celebrities, Kim Kardashian, Leonardo DiCaprio,
Jonathan Bronson Bloom
Right,
were
John
there.
and Bron.
We got spotted. People went a little crazy. It was
yeah. But that's what it's become. So instead of like it being initially like an art show, now it's like a party. So every night it's like, whose party am I going to? Am
What
I going
event
to
can
the
you get to?
Diplo party? Am I going to the Bentley party?
Bronny,
Am I
you
going
went to the Bentley
Maxim?
party yesterday,
So
right?
that's what it's all about. And
Let's
so
be nice, Brian. For the,
well, I'm an influencer.
really?
I get
Is that-
invited.
Is that how you got the Bentley thing?
Literally, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Literally,
Yeah,
they
okay,
invited me
yeah.
because of my follower account.
Yeah.
Which-
Your follower account.
Our follower
Thank
account.
you very much. Thank you.
They invited us, Dad. You
I
were
know,
on
I'm
the
just
invite.
fucking with you, brother. So it's a lot of fun. Here's some of the downside with it. First of all, it's a scene. Like Mom and I went to.
Oh, my God.
We went to dinner, the rip off, but a good dinner, and it's a scene. I mean, the
whole city
girls and the guy-
transforms.
it's a major scene, and it's crazy how it is. But here's the problem.
It's crazy. Like you can't. The city becomes the biggest city in the
All
world.
right, so
for the week.
yes, 100%. So
You can't
so to go
move.
1.3 miles is 40 minutes.
Yeah.
40 minutes, and an Uber that would be $12 is $68.
Oh, definitely.
It's so that's the only downside in Miami. That as much as I love it, and it is growing, and it's fucking killing it.
And I mean, Art Basel, even though that sucks for us as local residents, it's
Oh, no, it's
amazing
the
for the
best.
city. The amount of money that comes in.
No, it's
This
phenomenal.
week
So
is
so this
insane.
Mom and I have gone to Art Basel maybe about 7-8 years in a row, and we love it. And we usually will buy something, and I buy something just because I like it. I
You're
don't
an
need-
impulse buyer too. Though.
Not an impulse buy. There's a difference. It speaks to me. I like it.
Yeah, you just get a feeling.
A feeling.
Like you
right?
won't. You're not going to show up to an art show to be like, I'm buying art today. You'll just walk through and you'll be like, well, here's a perfect example. This happened last year. Or no, not last year. 2
Okay.
years ago, we were at Wynwood Walls, which is like an outdoor street art exhibit
You
in
only
Miami.
you have to leave by 4 p.m. because the gremlins come out. And you're fucking
Well,
dangerous.
yeah, but that's a whole other story.
good.
But there was like, it's a street art festival, and so like there's Banksy's and there's Shepherd Ferries, right? It's like popular street
Oh,
artists.
Banksy. All right, go ahead.
No, the artist Banksy.
I know.
And so we were there a couple years ago, and Dad,
It's fun.
This perfectly encapsulates that. We were going like the founder of Wynwood Walls, the guy, I forget his name, he's like this famous dude. He was like showing us all around these private exhibits and stuff.
He was a very nice guy.
Showing us the Shepard Fairey exhibit that they're about to unveil, and there were some for sale. And I was like, oh, I love Shepard Fairey.
Should I have bought it?
Yeah.
All right,
Shepard Fairey is like one of my favorite artists for sure. And they had like original pieces from him, and Dad was like really contemplating buying like this $50,000 art.
40.
Really contemplating like,
We spent 4 hours on it.
And then he decided not to, whatever. But he was like, I just don't want to, whatever. Then we're like, oh, we're thirsty. Let's go get some water. So we go to like
There's
this
an ice cream
little
shop
an
right
ice
next
cream
to our
shop.
car where we parked.
And so we go and we're like, we'll take 5 waters, one for each of us. The waters ended up being $5 each. So Dad was like, what the fuck? I'm not spending $25 on water. You'll get 2 and get plastic cups and you'll split them.
Right.
And it's like he would have had no problem spending $40,000.
But doesn't that make sense?
No.
One, there's a value. One is fucking water. It's free. You can get it from the faucet. I just don't see the value
in the moment. We couldn't.
No, you could have. You could ask for them to give you paper cups and put water. You have to. You'll be there one day. You'll see. There's no value.
I
in
understand it. It's just funny.
I get why you think it's funny. I
Yeah.
get it.
And you would like go to a car dealership on a whim and just be like, yeah, let's buy a $120,000 car. Sure, let's just do it. And you would buy it. But then if we went to like lunch after and fries were extra, you'd be like, fuck that. I'm not
You don't
getting
need the fries, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their shit, bro.
Yeah, that's just you.
That's my shit.
But you were saying that you usually
So
buy
back to our Basel. So it's a lot of fun. Mom and I had a great fucking time. Great seeing you guys. It's a good energy, good vibe. So we would go. This is, I think, our 8th year in a row, and it's just a fun time to go. But this year, I did not find the art for me as appealing. Scope, which I like the best because it's a little more young. It's more hip hop. I find that's on the beach side. I did not like a lot of the art, and I found, it's not a big deal, but I found a lot of the art to be much more liberal based, a lot of more African American art.
That's what art is. Art's always progressive.
No, but right.
They're not going to make art about like conservative values.
No,
Like, that's
what
just
I'm saying
not
is,
art.
No, first of all, everybody there was liberals, you could tell, but that's right.
We're
I
at
get
a
it.
contemporary art show.
I'm agreeing. I don't know. I was looking. There's things that when I look at art, and I know nothing about art, nothing. Okay, but I have to like it. There wasn't really anything that I found that I liked that was worthwhile, which was a blessing in disguise. Which
Yeah,
I'm
they saved money.
Saved money, which I'm pumped about. But it was great, and I'm debating next year, and of course I'm going to come next year. I say this. The come down this weekend is really not like, it's so crazy.
Some
and
people
crowded.
leave. Like I know people who leave the city
Yeah,
because
it's
they're
too
like, I just don't
crowded.
want to be here for this weekend.
But we had a good time, and we got to see you guys. It's a good time, and I like seeing all your friends, and it's definitely a scene. I know Mom likes it a little bit more, but
Some of the outfits that people are in though, it's just absolutely
good
crazy.
and bad.
Yeah, well,
Good and
I mean,
bad.
the thing with Art Basel too is like it's known for like you got to come and like you got to dress your best, right? You got to dress to the
But I think if
nines.
they say, what's the ugly stuff that doesn't match, and I'm going to wear it.
Yeah, I mean, some people look. I saw a guy who had the sides of his head shaved, and he was wearing like makeup or whatever, and he was just in a sheet, like a white sheet,
I'd
and his
fuck
hair
all
was
that.
dyed green. It was like a tunic, right? Is that what they call it? But like really long, and then it just people were dressed so
Maybe
weird.
next year I'll dress really weird. So we were at dinner at Komodo, and there was this white guy and a black guy sitting as gay as can be in their outfits. I mean, they were tall, couldn't be more flamboyant. So the white guy had like gold grills on, shaved like bleach blonde, just the top, sunglasses, and like a jumpsuit, like it was like going to space.
Yeah.
So I said, where they were Craig, and I go, look, it looks like the Pet Shop Boys. What is it? You know who that is, right?
I do, but I don't even know what they look like.
All right, so they look literally like, and then he gets up and Craig goes, "Love your first album." It was funny. It
They
was.
probably had no idea what you were talking
The
about.
guy goes, "Thank you," and then Craig's like, "You think he's a singer?" Joking into it, but it's very funny.
No, it's definitely
it's
a scene.
So retarded, and I said,
I kind of find it fun. I like when
"No,
people.
I agree. No, I enjoyed. I actually got more enjoyment watching the people than watching the art.
Yeah.
like it was a major scene.
Yeah, and they made it like some people are retards and being stupid,
And some
like,
people are good.
But then also, it's like sometimes if someone's just like, I like when people are just like, you know what, I'm gonna go all out. Like it's for a weekend. I don't mind it. I
have
enjoy
zero issue with it. I thought it was a great time. I like watching the people. I really did. I enjoyed watching the people. Some people look like clowns. Some people look good.
Yeah,
It was definitely a fun scene.
it was fun. It was
Yeah,
a good
so-
week.
so
I'm
now we're
glad it's
back.
over though. Because the city will go back to normal a little
Well,
bit.
it's still booming. So another question for you, Ronnie. So Dan told me something for you to look up about. He says they passing a bill in California about
Black reparations? Is
Yeah,
that what-
each
yeah.
person.
Well, by the way, so there's so much that's happened in the last week, like politically and culturally in this country, like so much. Like we got to talk about. There's crazy China COVID protests, crazy that we got to talk about. There's all this Balenciaga satanic shit, which we got to talk about.
Oh
like,
God! Do I
like-
get to get rid of my belt? You guys got me.
yeah, you probably are going to want to. After
I can't
watching
wear
this.
it.
Well, so the thing is, we're
And
definitely
you also
not.
told me that you said that they're putting the mask mandate back in.
Well, in California, they're talking about
Not
that.
even normal
That's not
to
even
even talk about.
There's even more. There's more Kanye stuff that we got to talk about.
Unbelievable.
There's all this Elon Musk,
It
Hunter
would-
Biden
yes,
stuff that we got to
that's
talk about.
good shit.
So there's like so much.
Yeah, but
so
we don't
we're-
have time for
Well, we're
that.
definitely not going to get to all of it in this episode.
And we got to do a follow advice.
Yeah, so you guys are going to have to join
Follow
the
up.
Patreon.
Which really, if you fucking listen, you don't join the Patreon at this point. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
If you go to patreon.com/daddyissuespod, you get 4 extra episodes a month, one every week for $5, which is like absolutely insane. So go there because we're definitely, if you want to hear about those things, like we're probably going to get to 1 out of the 5 that I just
Oh,
mentioned.
sorry, David Portnoy.
Dave Portnoy.
Portnoy. What's the name? What's
You
the-
just made it so much more Jewish. His name is Dave
Yeah,
Portnoy.
it's David.
David Portnoy, nice guy. I know his parents well.
We had coffee. So I was.
Yes, you saw Dave
that
Portnoy.
was- I wouldn't even reckon. I didn't even know who he was.
Everyone,
know.
when I posted, thought that you guys were related.
Really, that's a
I guess
compliment to
you're-
him.
Yeah, you guys are both just like Jewish New Yorkers. Or he's from Philly, I think.
But it's pretty cool. I told him about our podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he hears that all the time.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
No, I'm not saying.
I marked the shit out of it.
Yeah, no, I'm not
I
saying
was
that.
about to say, give me you're on Instagram, give me your phone. I was gonna make him follow us. We
He
should
would not
DM
have.
him and say I met you at the
He
thing.
probably gets so many DMs that he doesn't check.
Hey, fucking Dwight Howard followed Bertles.
In person, though. They were in person.
That's
together.
okay. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay, so out of those stories, which one do you want to talk about first? Okay, you said the
Yeah, this is the
reparations
quickest,
thing.
easy one. Dan wanted me to look into it. I said, we'll let Bronny look into it. What do you know?
Yeah,
about
I
that?
saw about I read
207,000
about it yesterday.
per person or
Like
whatever.
237,000, I think.
Per
Let's see.
person?
That's what they proposed. Yeah. Here. Look. I literally already had it up.
Okay. You know how many people are going to leave?
This is it right here. I already had it
Okay,
up.
look at him.
So this says California panel estimates $569 billion in reparations is owed to black residents.
Okay, Bronny, you know people going to leave.
It says here, a California task force studying the long-term effects of slavery and systemic racism of black residents in the state has estimated a whopping $570 billion in reparations. The 9-member panel concluded that black Californians whose ancestors were in the U.S. in the 19th century are each due $223,200 due to housing discrimination practices utilized from 1933 to 1977. And it says, the work of the Reparations Task Force, which was created by legislation that Governor Newsom signed in 2020, and the potential payouts represent the largest reparations effort in recent history. We're looking at reparations on a scale that is the largest since Reconstruction. The task force hopes to shrink the wealth gap between white and black Californians. So it says here, nationwide, black households have a median wealth of $24,100, which pales in comparison to white households where the median wealth is $188,200. That's according to the Federal Reserve Board survey of consumer finance.
If that's true, the minute you give them $230,000, they're going to be wealthier than the whites. And what are they going to do with it? Buy Gucci shoes?
I mean,
No, what are they going to do with it? Because that doesn't solve the problem. It's education
but the
solves
thing
the
is,
problem.
so that we have to admit that is a problem. That the median wealth, I don't think that throwing money at the problem is not what's going to
I
solve
think
it.
everyone recognizes there's a problem, but education resolves the problem.
Yeah, changing the culture.
Family values, having a father that's around,
Yeah.
not committing crimes, talking about morals
Well, all those, the not committing crimes,
are effects. I
right,
get it.
that's not.
But I'm saying, but it has to. Listen, you ever give money? You ever see these young actors? They start making millions when they're 6 years old, and when they're my age, they have no. Your age, they're in drugs and nothing. You can't. You need to the money, but listen. It's gonna destroy California. You know that.
Well, it's
People
also
leave.
like that's. So, I mean, it's not every black person. It's just the ones whose ancestors were.
You
But
understand
also,
that people
there was no slavery in California.
Right.
California wasn't a slave state.
Where are they getting the money from?
The taxpayers.
Yeah, there you go.
Meanwhile, they went bankrupt like 8 years
You
ago.
know how expensive it is anyway in California? People are gonna leave.
Do you realize it says they want to pay out $500 billion, $569 billion.
It makes no sense.
That's $500 billion.
I love to see the panel. Who comes up with this shit?
It's totally just like white guilt people.
No, I don't think. I think it's all black people. Who comes up with
Let's
this?
see. We can find out. Sorry if I sound all nasally. My allergies are insane right now, which is very annoying. Let me see. I'm going to Google this. Reparations Task Force members. Here we go. We can find out who they are.
Unbelievable. What I tell you?
They're
all blacks
black
except one
Asian.
Asian
dude.
Was that right?
One, two, three, four black men and four black women.
So that's an impartial panel?
Well, I mean, should white people be deciding what is best for black people? No, it should be black, right? Like if it was a panel for like reparations for the Holocaust and it was Christians making the decision, I'd be like, fuck no.
But why have a panel?
Well, someone has to decide.
No, it's decided.
But who decides?
No, I'm saying if you have a panel of all black people in favor of black people, it's decided. If you have a panel of all Jewish people in favor of Jews, it's decided.
No, you have to decide how much, where it's going, who's getting it,
Yeah,
what's the deal, what are the payouts.
I think they 100% should do it. I think they should give $1 trillion. So I think they should do it. I think everybody in California should have to pay for it. I'm all in favor of it.
I don't.
Californians have to. Florida's have to get 2 levels. We'll have to build a 2-level state
Because there's gonna be so many people coming and saying.
That's what.
No, they'll just build more islands out in the ocean.
I want one of them.
I just don't think that throwing money, especially that much, that's a lot of money. $230,000 per household. If they were like, we're gonna give $50,000 just to like help you get through the year,
Or
so
how
help
about
you
this?
like pay your mortgage off.
How about this, right? Which I still don't agree with, but saying, listen, if it's a problem of housing, how about we will give you longer term loans, lower interest rates. We will make sure, but you have to have skin in the game. For example, I think education is key. So you have to make sure your kids go to school. If they're not going to school.
Well, the problem with that is that's not a money issue. That's a culture issue.
I get it, but
so
at
throwing money at a culture, throwing money and saying, fix how you live your life. That's not
but
going
at
to change.
Some point,
it'll only
Bronson,
make it worse, honestly.
People need to still be somewhat responsible for their own actions too. You can't keep living in the past.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a culture issue, and sure, the culture might be fucked up, and the problems in the culture might stem from their past of being
But
poor.
we're evolving, are we not?
Yeah, but it's not. But what I'm saying is like, whatever the reason of a problem, to try to fix it with what caused it initially is not going to solve it anymore. Right? Like if you have cancer and you got cancer from sun exposure, going out in the sun and getting more sun exposure isn't going to solve it. You have to do something else. You have to change what you're doing. And so like if their problem was lack of money, just giving an influx of money isn't going to solve it. You have to do something else to fix it.
But the government doesn't really care. They don't really care. You think Californians can really care about the reparations to the black people?
Well, so if
do you
they
really
don't,
think
but
so?
if they don't care, then why are they doing this? Why are they giving so much of their money? If the government is all about money and power, why are they giving away so much of it if you don't think they care?
I know why the government gives so much money away in our country in the past 2 years and create inflation and all this stuff. They just, because they're fucking stupid.
Well, no, creating inflation and giving away COVID money, there's reasons for doing that.
But
giving away COVID money and like making people dependent on the government makes sense if no one's working.
The government they don't have any fucking clue what they're doing, and I think there's other reasons to why they're doing this.
So what are those?
I don't know. Maybe get the voters, maybe to join the
right.
To show
That's
how
a reason. The
to show how woke they are, to get the people on their side. People are going to leave California, 100%, no question about it. They're going to destroy it again, and then maybe when they destroy it, when they go bankrupt and everything devalues, maybe they're thinking these wealthy multi-million and billionaires will buy it more in California, knowing it's gonna convert back. There's always
It's not even wealthy millionaires now. It's just like China and companies. Although Blackstone or BlackRock, whichever one, just like they're about to go under. Do you hear all this shit? There's like all this crazy stuff where they couldn't. What is it? I'll just Google it. Everyone was freaking out. Like
Blackstone's not going under.
They couldn't pay their. Let's see.
100% Blackstone's not going under.
Blackstone limits withdrawals at $125 billion property fund as investors rush to exit. Blackstone limits investor withdrawals. There's all these things like Blackstone
I have fucking
earnings
plenty of money in Blackstone.
haven't escaped
Seriously?
the attention of investors
Because it did very well.
Blackstone sells MGM Grand and Mandalay Bay stakes. Blackstone to sell its stakes. Barclays downgrades Blackstone shares after firm limits withdrawals from real estate funds. I don't know I don't know a lot, but I was on Reddit.
Well, I'm calling my fucking guy right after this thing.
I was on Reddit Wall Street Bets, which is like their betting subreddit, and I was just seeing everyone was like, short Blackstone. It's about like shit's about to hit the fan. Let's make money off of them. Like all this shit.
Because Blackstone did very well.
Yeah, but it was something. Let's read right here. This is from Reuters yesterday. Blackstone $69 billion rate curbs redemptions and blow to property empire.
Real estate investment trust.
Okay, so it says here, Blackstone limited withdrawals from its $69 billion unlisted real estate income trust on Thursday after a surge in redemption requests, an unprecedented blow to a franchise that helped it turn into an asset management behemoth. The curb came because redemptions hit preset limits rather than Blackstone setting the limits on the day. Nonetheless, they fueled investor concerns about the future of the REIT, which makes up about 17% of its earnings. Blackstone shares ended down 7% on Thursday. They were down another 2% on Friday. Many investors in the REIT are concerned that Blackstone has been slow to adjust to the vehicle's valuation to that of publicly traded REITs that have taken a hit amid rising interest rates. A source close to the fund said, rising interest rates weigh on real estate. Blackstone reported a 9.3 year-to-date return for its REIT net of fees, a contrast to the publicly traded Dow Jones, which was a 22% decline over the same period.
Keep reading. I need to know what's going on with this.
Alex Snyder, portfolio manager at Center Square Investment Management in Philadelphia, said the arbitrage between the value Blackstone has assigned to its real estate portfolio and the value of publicly traded REITs caught the eye of investors. People are taking profits at the value Blackstone says the REITs share are at. A Blackstone spokesperson declined to comment on how the New York-based firm calculates the valuation, but said its portfolio was concentrated in rental housing and logistics in the southern and western U.S. that have short-duration leases. The spokesperson added that the REIT relied on long-term fixed-rate debt structure, making it resilient. The REIT is marketed to wealthy individual investors. Blackstone told investors in a letter it would curb withdrawals from its REIT after it received redemption requests in November greater than 2% of its monthly net asset value and 5% of its quarterly net asset value. As a result, the REIT allowed investors in November to redeem $1.3 billion, equivalent to 43% of their repurchase requests. Barclays analysts downgraded their rating of Blackstone stock to, quote, equal weight from, quote, overweight, and cut their price target to 90 from 98 on Friday. They and other analysts said Blackstone's REIT runs the risk of getting caught in a spiral of selling assets to meet redemptions if it cannot regain the trust of its investors. On Thursday, the firm said that the REIT had agreed to sell 49.9% interest in 2 Vegas casinos for $1.3 billion. The impact on Blackstone depends on whether the REIT is able to stabilize its net value over the time, or if it's forced to enter an extended runoff scenario with significant asset sales and ongoing redemption backlog. Too early to tell in our view.
Wow, that
I don't know what any of that means.
I do. That would be a big problem.
Yeah, I just saw those like in the that was Friday. Like that literally happened this week.
Fuck, I gotta call Shapiro.
How do we even get on Blackstone?
I know, but that's a concern.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to end the pod right now and make some phone calls. Okay.
All right. So should we pivot to another thing? We'll save the Balenciaga. We'll do Balenciaga and all the Kanye shit because we'll do that in the Patreon because like I have like pictures and video. Like,
all right,
that's much more.
Yeah, let's talk about. Let's talk
Elon.
Yeah,
because that's like more time. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, who is helping me trim my winter bush this year.
Oh my god!
For the winter,
not normal.
Like you have to trim your Christmas tree. You have to trim your.
Why you
him Smith's tree.
You're an idiot. Why
Which
don't
is
you
your penis?
Why don't you do the back of your neck then, brother?
I can't do it myself. I need someone to help me.
Find someone to do it for you. Have your brother do it, and then have your brother take the.
I need to get a girlfriend so that the only reason I need a girlfriend is so that she can use my lawnmower 4.0 and trim the back of my neck.
And your girlfriend should use it too. It's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Right?
So Manscaped has everything that you could need for your grooming and personal hygiene and bathroom needs.
And it's really great stuff. It's great.
It
no
is.
nicking. It's amazing.
Their Lawnmower 4.0, which is their trimmer, is like the best trimmer on the market. I never need to worry about it like any on my delicate parts.
And you're a hairy motherfucker.
And I use it everywhere. and I use it in the shower because it's waterproof. But Manscaped also has a bunch of other stuff rather than just their like product or their like technology. They have a bunch of products. They have a great 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. They have body wash. It all comes in metal containers, so I like that. No plastic. It's good for
Underwear.
the
They have
environment.
underwear.
They do. They have underwear and they have t-shirts. And then they have secret stuff that like no one knows about, which is their best product. Like their ball deodorant is by far one of their best things, and no one fucking knows about it because you put it down there, you get out of the shower, you put it down. You don't need to worry about swamp ass. You don't need to worry about it smelling.
You got to get me that. I need some of that ball
Yeah,
deodorant.
it's called the Crop Preserver. I'll get you that, and everyone listening at home.
I know your
definitely
mom's
needs it.
definitely gonna want me to have that.
Thanks. So you guys can go get all this shit that we've been talking about at manscaped.com. And because you're a listener of this show, you get 20% off if you use the code DaddyIssues20 at checkout. So once again, it's manscaped.com. Use the code DaddyIssues20 at checkout. You'll get 20% off and free shipping.
Yeah, I thought it's like a fucking joke with like Elon that they want to investigate him because before he was threatening to do this. How ironic. They can do it and hide what they want. And now that he's fucking pulling back the curtain, so to speak.
Yeah, they were like, the government was talking about investigating him.
And he doesn't give a shit.
No, but it's also like, so Elon, who has
God
seemingly done like, right, he might be like saying annoying shit, but he like hasn't done anything wrong outwardly yet, right? That they're trying to investigate him. But Sam Bankman-Fried, who has stole billions out of FTX, the FTX guy.
Yeah, unbelievable.
No one is, the SEC, no one is investigating him. No, everyone's quiet about it. He just did a
People
puff
need
piece
to understand
with
that.
Good Morning America. George Stephanopoulos just did a whole puff piece with him where it's like, what? He was like, oh, I feel so bad about this stuff. It's like, the dude should be in prison.
Yeah.
These billions of dollars, no one knows where they are. No one has heard if they're going to get, like, right? But Elon is the real problem. It's like, it's
Because
so...
they fear him. Don't you say this is what happened with Trump? They fear these people, and they create this bullshit fucking story they can investigate. It's such a crock of shit. That's what it is. And here's the best part: Elon doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and
He
Sam
will
Bankman-Fried is one of theirs.
He will destroy. Correct. Elon will destroy them. He will fucking. He doesn't give a fuck, and he's so powerful and so wealthy.
Yeah, I mean... And
He bought Twitter just to fucking make a point. He's gonna make money out of it. You'll see.
I don't think he did it to like as a business because he said it himself. He's like, it's a bad business. He said it's not a money-making business.
He's an innovator. He wants to change he doesn't want the government changing the world. He wants to change the world for better. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's also worrisome if one person is changing the world rather than a committee of people.
But it is nice
Because
that we have a guy that won't be bullied.
Right, but what if tomorrow he just decides that he's now against you? Or like, what if tomorrow he's like, you know what, Kanye's speaking the truth? Then if he's one, right, like when one person has power,
no, you missed
it's
it.
very
Here's
dangerous.
But people are, listen, here's where I disagree with you. Kanye, who had so many following, so much power, people still know what's right or wrong. And they're like, no, listen, all right, I'm just
The
telling you.
Kanye shit is really worrying
All
me.
right, well-
Every day it gets more worrisome.
I'm not worried about Kanye.
It's not Kanye I'm worried about. It's him vocalizing things as a mainstream figure that now a bunch of people who thought it in the back of their brain that were like, this is too dangerous to say. Now we're like, oh, I can say this now. He's saying it on the news. He's saying it on Twitter. I can say it. The amount of the anti-Semitic comments on our TikToks have become noticeably more.
On ours.
Yeah.
Mine and yours.
Noticeably
Like
more
what? Give me
than
an
they
example.
were.
Fuck them. Fuck these
Yeah, but it doesn't matter about fuck them.
I don't give a shit what people say.
Yeah, but it does, right, but we should.
No,
Because
the Jew, let me tell you, I'm not worried
No,
about
it-
Jews. Let me.
the Jews were powerful back. The thing is, so I studied a lot. I've studied a lot of Holocaust stuff, right? Like, you know this. I've read a lot of Holocaust books. I took a lot of Holocaust classes in college. I've studied. I wasn't there, obviously, but I've been to the camps. Like, I've know more about the Holocaust than most people in this country, right? I feel like that's fair to say. Before Hitler came to power,
We went off Elon now. What's going on?
but we'll come back. But just before Hitler came to power, everyone in Germany thought he was a joke. Everyone. It was like, oh, there's this comical guy who's crazy. Like, people were just like, oh, he's a crazy guy. He's just stupid. Why would anyone listen to him? That's literally what everyone said. And then 3 years later, 6 million Jews were dead. And it's like it literally happened within the course of 5 years. And the reason why it happened was because the state of Germany was very weak, right? Like, there was record high inflation. What do we have in America right now? Record high inflation. There was political turmoil, right? Both sides hated each other because they just couldn't get along. No one knew what to do. People felt it was like in a Make America Great Again, right? Like the German Empire had fallen, and people were like, Germany is a weak state. We need to get back to what we used to be, the strength of what Germany used to be. We used to be amazing and powerful and prideful, and we used to all be like proud to be German. And now the state of this country, we look at it and we don't even recognize this country. That's exactly the state of what's happening in America. And so it's like, yeah, Kanye is easy to dismiss, but the idea is it's like if we just dismiss it, then it makes it more powerful.
Well, I think there's been always anti-Semitism. People are going to speak up. I hear you. It's definitely I think we should be concerned about. But well, I don't know. No, we'll get to when. And I'm curious to know what you said on the issue of 1 minute on the issue of we're getting comments. I'm surprised you didn't share those with me.
It's not like comments like you guys are like dirty Jews, whatever. It's not like that, but it's comments where it's like, but Kanye wasn't. But like Kanye was saying
Comments
makes
like
sense, like shit like that. Like on our videos where we would talk about Kanye, a lot of the comments are like, but he is right though, or like, but the media is Jewish, like shit like that, where it's like people are just saying that shit like it's normal.
Yeah, fuck them. I get it.
Of course, fuck them, but it's
like fuck them. You'll see. Jews are never going to let this shit happen again.
It's not a matter of letting it happen. You always say we're 1% of 1%. So we have no. It's like, what do you mean? Let it
and
happen.
I'll fucking die taking some of those motherfuckers out with me. What can I tell you?
No, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what the solution is. All I'm saying is it's something that like
I know what the solution is.
You need to be vocal.
Yes.
What the solution is? Kill everyone that's not Jewish? No.
No. Who said that? We'll talk off the air.
No, it's about being vocal and being like when people are canceling Kanye. I'm like, no. We can't banish him because then the ideas just fester. We need to confront them. I want to talk to Kanye and be like, yo, but why? Instead of being like, no, we can't platform him.
Talking to people who are dumb fucking ignorance, what's the point of it? You're not changing.
No, but at least then every time Kanye is vocal about his things publicly, he makes himself look like more of an idiot.
Fair enough.
So let's let him spew all his shit, and then let's let smarter people confront him. Like he was on Alex Jones this week, and he like made an absolute fool of himself and was saying all this. He was like, Hitler invented highways and Hitler invented the microphone, and so he's done good things. I like Hitler. He's
but there are ignorant fucking people that will believe what he says just because it's Kanye.
So what I'm saying is, instead of being like, I'm not even going to address that, we have to say like, no, Hitler did not invent that. Like you have to prove it wrong so that you stop the ignorance. Letting ignorance.
But even today, there's many people think the Holocaust never happened. So you're not going to change stupidity. They just breathe their oxygen in. You can't fucking convince a 3-year-old and talk economics with them. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but it doesn't work, sure. But instead of being like, I'm gonna just let you keep thinking that, it's like, no, here. And if they keep being like, no, then you have to just keep being like, here's the truth. Even if they keep saying no, instead of turning around. Because maybe eventually you'll just keep chipping away.
I don't know if there's
At
people
least it's something.
I don't know if there are people possible when you're that dumb. When people are that fucking dumb and that ignorant, there's any chance of turning people like that around.
At least it's
I
something.
think you have to stop them spreading the fucking
But how are you going to
cancer.
stop them if you're...
Just you pull them off the fucking way of doing it. I don't know.
No, but that's
He'll
what
get
makes
harmed.
the cancer worse. The mold,
I hear you. You're not listen. The analogy of letting mold and not remediating it will grow. I get it.
or it's like a school shooter, right? If there's a kid,
Brown, we can make 20 analogies. We're not spending the whole time. I get it. I don't know if I agree with what you're saying. I just don't know if I agree that when you're dealing with that deep hatred and that deep ignorance and that deep stupidity, if you can change it. That's what I'm saying.
you can 100%.
Okay. All right.
The only way you can
I don't think so.
The only way you can possibly try. Let's say you can't change it, right? But the only way that is possible to change it is to talk.
Well, but Hitler grew because of his propaganda and his taking away the books, posting, things like that. with the equivalent of today's social media and the narrative. If you take the avenue away from to spread the fucking word,
Exactly.
so when give me an example, when
So you don't take right exactly.
no, you take it away by stop giving them a platform.
No.
Listen, if you give them the platform, there's an ability for them to convince other people.
No, but Hitler wanted to run for the Reichstag, right, which was the German parliament. He wanted to like have a voice, right? They didn't have Twitter back then, so in order to have a voice, you had to be in the government. And they didn't let him because they were like, dude, you're fucking crazy. And so they canceled him, right? And then he resorted to speaking they call it, he used to do it like in a beer hall, right? So he used to speak in the back room of this bar that would allow him to speak. And he started gaining more and more traction because the authorities were like not focusing on him because they were like, we canceled him. We're not giving him a platform. He started gaining more and more momentum because it was like more violent because people were not, if you're not in the public eye, you can be more dark.
Yeah, but I also think the ADL is going to continue to watch him. We're not as ignorant and stupid as we were. We know how
The ADL is going to continue to watch him. All they do is Kanye goes on Alex Jones and says, I like Hitler. And the ADL posts a tweet that says, Hitler was a bad man. We don't stand with Kanye. That does nothing. Who the fuck?
They do, the Bronson. They do a lot more than that. Okay, they're a
and-
huge advocate.
Exactly.
There's a lot going on.
What do they do?
to protect.
They try to educate. They talk about it. They try to share the truth. That's what I'm saying. We need to do more of that. Not just be like, oh, they're ignorant fucks with hate. I'm never
more
going to change
talking, or just fucking kill the guy. I mean, it's constant more talking. You'd be surprised.
Killing them will make them stronger in their values.
okay.
Canceling Kanye is making his point. When he says the Jewish media and the Jewish banks are out to get me, and then the next day his bank he can't take his money out of his bank. If I was on the other side of the issue, I'd be like, there we go. That's the Jews controlling it. It makes his points more.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't think talking to him is going to change anything. I think it's a waste of I don't believe in negotiating with terrorists. You do. It's a different generational thing. I think
Not terrorists.
I think well, he is a terrorist.
No, negotiating with terrorists once the act is done is a different story. But if Osama bin Laden kept saying, yo, I really don't like America, let's do something about it, and we were just like ignoring it.
Not let's do something about it. He's not saying I want to change it. He's saying I want to destroy America. So with people like that, you just kill. Don't you think that?
But Kanye is not saying that he wants to destroy Jews yet.
No, listen to me. The Jews are not stupid. The fucking Israeli army, the fucking special forces, they're not going to let this shit happen again. I hear what you're saying. The talking, sometimes fighting is okay. The constant talking doesn't work when you're dealing with stupid people. It doesn't fucking work. It doesn't. That's just my opinion.
But what does fighting look like then? Modern day fighting is talking. There's no such.
One day
there's
you'll
not gonna
find
be an
out.
actual
One day
war
you'll find
unless we're
out.
already dead.
Kanye died in his apartment. Say it was drugs or heart attack. This is
And
the way shit
that'll
happened.
make the people.
No, because they won't say it was done by this.
If the second Jeffrey Epstein was killed, everyone, including us, was like, "Oh, that proves our point." 100%. Now there's a cabal.
Okay, and you know
of
what?
people. And
It
if
might prove the point,
If
but-
Kanye's saying Jews are out to get me, blah blah blah, and then he dies of suicide, even I'll be like, "Oh, fuck, the Jews did
You're
it."
right. Wait. And you know what? And in 30 days, you forget and move on to something
No,
else.
the hate
But you
will get
no,
deeper
it doesn't.
and more.
You're always going to
fester.
have the hate. It exists, no matter which way. It
Okay.
exists.
So either we
Period.
can ignore it, which is what you're saying,
Or take out the
or
leaders.
we can.
You're not going to
address
change it. You're not going to change. That's why Jews have to marry more Jews to keep the Jewish faith going. That's why you have to understand.
But that's not.
Yes, it is because
That's not going to affect anything
You're
about the hate.
dwindling down, but doesn't that? But the strength in numbers too. You're going to have hate. You can't
The
stop
strength
hate.
we will always lose the number game.
You
as Jews.
can't, but you
We will
can't stop.
Always lose the number
Okay.
game, no matter what.
Ronnie, you can't stop hate. You're not going to change people's minds. You're not going to.
You can definitely alleviate hate. The world is a lot less hateful towards gay people now than it was even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago.
but it will
right?
still always exist.
A little bit, but okay, Dad. But it's not an all or none. I'm saying it's a spectrum.
Right,
You can
educate
100% make the world less anti-Semitic by education.
Yes, you can.
Okay, but
I
exactly.
agree with that. I do agree with that.
But this whole thing, you were like, you're not going to change it.
But you're
Hate's
not
hate.
going to change fucking people like Hitler
okay.
or them. Those are people you're not.
I don't care about
they're
changing
so
Kanye.
far gone. You're not going to change people like that.
I don't
It's
wanna
like
change
saying,
Kanye.
Let's get Pelosi or Newsom and say, let's really do what's best for the people. You're not gonna. They're so gone. They're so narcissistic, fucking gone.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about changing Kanye. I'm talking about the people who are commenting on our TikTok saying, "But Kanye's right, though." And 2 years ago they wouldn't have said that because they would have been like, "Well, I can't say that because," or they wouldn't have even known, right? They would have been like, "What do you mean Jews control the media? I've never even heard of that." But now they've heard of it, and so now the hate's starting to fester, and so you can talk to them and be like, "Yo," and then it stops.
All right, so you could talk to those people.
I'm not saying I'm going to change Kanye's mind. That's ridiculous. But the next generation.
I think getting Kanye and giving him a platform to talk about it more, he will get 100% more followers. It's the worst thing you can do. I think it's adding fuel to the fucking fire. I think you should not give him a fucking...
So you want to deplatform it?
I think it's, for example, like when you see these fucking delusions, like they put on the news about the guy who shot up all these students or this, whatever. And then people, like these sickos, get fucking attention, get a platform. I think some shit should not be out there in the fucking public eye because you need to smother the fire. You need to sometimes put it out and move on because people want the attention. People want to belong. Just like the social media, these groups, furries, fluffies, incels, everyone has they want to belong. You know, the anime, whatever you call it. These people before, like,
that's a whole...
But my point is,
hate speech in anime.
No, what I'm saying
Twitter is very different.
What I'm saying is, if you you stop the platform, you see, it's like putting.
You sound like a Democrat.
No.
So wait, Kanye was kicked off Twitter 2 days ago. Is that good or bad for you?
Well, we talked about the fact that private companies can do it. We talked about that, right?
Right, but Trump was kicked off Twitter. How did you feel about that?
I think if anybody promotes, there's a difference, Bronson. Let's go back to the First Amendment right. Okay, when there is you have a First Amendment right for free speech, but when you promote hatred and violence, then it's not protected. Okay. It's not protected when you promote, like you could say, I feel like I want to punch you or I'm going to punch you. Again, I'm making a very general statement. If he's creating a problem where it's borderline first protected, First Amendment speech, then yeah, I have no problem with that. Just like on TV, you watch primetime TV, you don't see boobs. You have to maybe go on Showtime or Skinemax, whatever.
Skinemax?
Cinemax, I'm joking. You never heard of Skinemax?
No, go on.
So my point is, there's different forums. And there's different times. So if he's using Twitter, whatever it might be, and he's not say if he say, I think kill the Jews, that is not protected speech. That is not protected speech. Therefore, it's not protected speech. Jews run media, that's protected speech. Jews should die, or we should go DEFCON on Jews. That's not protected speech, Bronson. Therefore, yes, you are transmitting something that might be, again, I don't know the laws, but over the FTC,
it's a private company.
Okay, but the reality is it's not protected speech. So therefore, I don't think that if someone said...
So you're saying Kanye should be deplatformed.
He's
deserving the deplatform.
If someone said all blacks should be killed, all Muslims should... you know what? I don't think that should be protected speech. I don't think anyone should hear that.
This is different than what you've said like a year ago. Because I still stand. What I've said a year ago and what I say now is that everything anyone should be allowed to say anything.
No, but if
the ADL in the 70s, literally they fought for the right of Nazis to spout Nazi ideas. Okay. Because they were like, no matter what, freedom of speech should be allowed. Everyone should be able to say anything.
I don't like Jews or I don't like blacks. That's different than saying blacks should be killed or Jews should be killed.
Kanye hasn't said Jews should be killed.
Go DEFCON. Wait, DEFCON means to annihilate.
No.
Yes, it does. 100%. That's what it means.
No, it's a defense thing, not an attack thing. No.
He said it that to annihilate Jews.
It literally means like a defensive position.
Okay, he's an idiot because he doesn't know what things mean, but he is promoting the death of Jews. Not Jews run media, the Jews control the banks. Different story.
Yeah.
It's like me saying...
I think Kanye should be allowed to... I think he should be allowed to say everything he's saying, and I think he should keep saying everything he's saying, and then we meet it...
You're an idiot,
No, because then we meet it with a reaction. That's how you...
You really think the fucking... People are so malleable and so stupid and just follow the sheep herd that if they like Kanye, that young generation, which is really mostly your generation, not my generation, doesn't really follow Kanye. Okay, that they're going to be
But a lot of your generation now, a lot of middle-aged anti-Semites are like, I like that guy, Kanye.
Well, that's white trash, ignorant fucks. I don't care to change their mind. I think those people should not breathe my oxygen. You're doing stupidity. It's the same way that someone says
but they're going to
all
become the
Muslims should be
soldiers of the
killed.
SS.
Well, okay, so they'll become the soldiers. So we'll fucking fight them. What can I tell you?
It's such a slippery
Talk about
slope.
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we've been skirting Twitter. So Twitter,
What generation wants to talk about everything? Go ahead.
that's how you solve it.
Sure. Let me know how it works out when you're my age.
No, I'm talking about that's how you solve hate.
You're not going to. I know we're going back again. You're not going to solve ignorance and
course you
hatred.
can.
You're not going to solve ignorance.
Of course you can.
All right, go ahead.
You always say that I'm pessimistic. That's so pessimistic
Let's
of
talk
you.
about Elon Musk.
That you said you can't stop ignorance. Of course you know how the
ignorance wrong.
You
Sorry,
can
sorry.
100% stop
Wait,
ignorance.
all right,
You
all right.
educate them.
All right, not
by talking.
Okay, sorry, not ignorance. I'm talking about you can't stop people like Hitler, Stalin. You can't stop fucking.
Of course you can.
No, you can't. Yeah, you stop them by killing them.
You stop them. You stop them before they become powerful.
Okay,
and not by killing them, because how do you know that they're going to become powerful or not? But if you educate everyone, then a Hitler would never have risen. And
You
even
stop,
let's say
you kill him.
if Kanye is at the top,
Kill Hitler. Period.
right? If Kanye is at the top, no, let's take the Hitler example. If Hitler was rising, Hitler would never have gotten the power if the people in the country were all educated on the topic.
I still think people are stupid generally.
Right. And how do you stop stupidity? Education.
You can't. People. Education, I hear you, in a perfect world with unicorns and bunnies.
Yeah, but can't you strive towards that
yes,
every
you
day?
can. But
just to be like, it's not going to happen. Let's not even bother.
No, what I'm
That's what you're
saying
saying.
is people still, you can't. Dumb is just dumb. So I get what you're saying in a nice world, and that'd be great with rainbows and puppies and unicorns, but there are just some bad people that are evil. You're never going to change it. They'll always have a following, and it's better to cut the cancer out. Period. That's my opinion. And he's
I
cancer.
just think when Kanye,
cut him out.
When Kanye says Hitler invented the microphone, instead of being like, ignore it, where now a bunch of people are going to be like, Hitler did invent the microphone. He was good. Instead, you say, actually, no, it was, I think his name was like James West. Instead, it's James West invented
And when
the
you
microphone.
say that, what's
And
going to happen is
maybe a lot of people will be like, no, Hitler still did it. But maybe a few people will be like,
Okay.
Or maybe some people will just be like, whatever. But it's better than not doing it. It's better than not doing it.
okay, but that's slow. Okay, to me, rather than doing chemo, rather than doing pills, rather than doing changing eating, if I have a tumor, sell me a tumor, I want the doctor going and cut the fucking tumor thing out. I like go in, get the fucking thing out and be
Yeah,
done.
but also when you cut the tumor out, there's a lot of risks involved with surgery.
Nope.
And if you go and you just kill Kanye, that might make it a lot worse. A lot of revolutions in this world
Good, they don't
have
happen.
happened.
You're not going to change
because a leader's
the
taken out.
ignorance and the stupidity that follow Kanye West and believe him. You're not going to change by saying, "Let's sit and talk about it."
Yeah,
and
I
talk
think
about
you
it.
will.
Okay,
I think you will,
No
honestly.
problem, buddy. You got it. No problem.
It's sad that you feel that way. It's
No,
like
I think
very pessimistic.
I think it's
very negative.
I think it's ignorant and weak and typical of your generation that wants to talk
it's weak of me to
Wait,
try to actually
that
solve the
want-
problem
no,
instead of ignore it.
That wants to talk. I'm not ignoring it. They
You
want
100%.
to talk about
You said get rid of
everything.
it.
You guys would negotiate. If somebody came in your fucking house and threatened you guys say, "Listen, let's talk about it." My generation would be like, "You're fucking dead. I'll fucking kill you."
Yeah, okay. Your generation's the one that made all the weakness in this world.
Yeah, because we loved you guys too much.
So you guys are so powerful and strong and alpha
No.
that you
we realized our mistakes.
That you made such bitch-ass weak children.
We realized our mistakes of what
That
we did.
makes no sense.
We realize and we're now just voicing our concerns of the mistakes that we'd like to go back and change.
All
And
right,
make
so
different.
let's go to Twitter. So Elon, and I think he did this strategically because if you went to like Twitter over the weekend, Twitter's trending page was like absolutely insane because it was just all this crazy shit. It was anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, the Jews, cocaine. It was like all this crazy shit on the trending page that everyone was making memes about it. Like, what the fuck is going on with like here, let's see if it's even still now. No, it's changed a lot. They might have even changed it. But it was like crazy. So I think Elon purposefully he called it the Twitter files. I think he dropped it purposely this weekend to try to distract from like that Twitter was going down this like crazy cesspool of a trending weekend. But anyways, he called it the Twitter files, and he said it's the first of many things that are going to come. He did it with Matt Taibbi. And they released, Matt Taibbi's a great journalist. I'm glad he did it through him. Here, let me find Matt's thread. There's so much. Basically what happened is that they released, let me get to one. Here, thread the Twitter files. So he says here, what you're about to read is the first installment of in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files tell an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It is a Frankensteinian tale of human-built mechanism grown out of control of its designer. Twitter in its conception was a brilliant tool. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It goes on. Slowly over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more use for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech, first a little, then more often, then constantly. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another. So here's an email. This is an email from internal Twitter where an executive sent to another executive. And it says more to review from the Biden team. And it has 5 links to tweets involved. And then the other executive wrote back and said, handle these. And those tweets were removed.
Wow.
So it's like
Good for Elon Musk, though, doing this.
I mean, the thing is, we now fully have proof. This is internal proof that Twitter was getting requests from Biden before he was president, during the election, to remove tweets that were anti-Biden. And Twitter was doing it, and they were not doing it to Trump.
Unbelievable.
So here it says both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both... Oh, no, here. So it's requests from both the Trump White House and Biden campaign were received and honored. However, the system wasn't balanced. It was based on context. Because Twitter wasn't as overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation, there were more channels, more ways to complain open to the left, Democrats, than the right. So here, contributions by party of recipient. In 2020, Democrats donated I don't know what this means. Democrats $909,000, Republicans $14,000. Percent to Democrats 98.45. 4.7 and percent of Republicans 1.5%.
Donate to
contributions by party of recipient. I don't know what that means. The resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. It keeps going. So here's an article from the New York Post that says, Smoking gun email reveals how Hunter Biden introduced Ukrainian businessmen. Oh, no, this is the Hunter Biden story. So this story, remember, it says here, on October 14, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool reserved for extreme cases like child pornography. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump staffer Mike Hahn. So this was
unbelievable.
This is an email from Mike Hahn to Twitter, to Twitter's government and politics board. It says here, urgent. Kayleigh McEnany has been locked out of her account for simply talking about the New York Post story. All she did was cite the story and firsthand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. I need an answer immediately on when she will be unlocked. I also don't appreciate how nobody on this team called me regarding the news that you'll be censoring. Like I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days.
Appreciate was spelled wrong.
Yeah. This led public policy executive Caroline Strom to send out a polite query. So then she said, Caroline Strom from Twitter, who was their public policy executive, several employees noted that there was tension between the policy teams who had little to less control over moderation. She said, hi, team, are you able to take a closer look here? Thank you.
Is this any different than we constantly get canceled?
Well,
Same thing.
This is on a much bigger scale.
But look how we cancel on a small scale. Shocking.
Yeah, I think we were just probably algorithm just picked us up. I don't think people were deliberately sending our tweets and being like, hey, Twitter, remove these. But this goes on and on. It's a huge, huge thread. And they have all the receipts, right? They show all the emails from Twitter.
It's unbelievable.
And it's crazy that it basically shows that Twitter, one of the biggest media companies, was involved in altering public perception about the truth during an election year. which then could lead you to believe could
everything
have maybe
else.
influenced the election.
Yes, and involved in everything else that we don't know about.
Yeah.
How corrupt
it was
is that?
Right before it was September, October 2020. That was the month before the election of Biden Trump.
Well-
and they were removing anti-Biden stuff and stuff that we know to be true. The Hunter Biden laptop story is true. The Hunter Biden Burisma shit with Ukraine, all that stuff was true. And they were removing it a month before
and
the
these are
election.
Details associated with it. But we also know that they've been doing this because they took Trump off. They stopped him. So my point is, these details we didn't know about, but we knew it existed. But they do it to Trump right in our face.
Yeah, but that was publicly to say because he was like inciting violence, like you were saying with Kanye, he was inciting hate and violence, which like there can be an argument to be made there. That's not completely insane to say, right? Like,
well, it's not completely insane, but again,
it's a
just,
little bit crazy,
It's
but
speculation what happened with in January,
or even not even just January 6th, but like there were a lot of times where Trump was like, "This person's a moron. That person's should be like is ridiculous," and it's like Kanye.
That's a little different than DEF CON and
I know, but it's not. It's not like such an insane stretch to be like Trump was peddling in hate speech. It's not. I don't fully agree with it, but it's not like saying that. Where?
All right, so we know the corruption here. It's right here, literally. And if people don't think that the election is influenced and there's fraud involved, you're fucking an idiot.
Well, it's true. Now we have the things here,
and Biden also with his son. I mean, if people don't understand that, then you're just drinking the Kool-Aid, Bronson.
Well, the problem is that any media outlet will not be. No media outlet will be talking about this. Right? Like, let's go. That's a huge story. Imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine
Forget about it.
If there were leaked emails that Twitter was working with
Replace
Trump.
Biden for Trump.
Yeah.
Replace the name.
Twitter was working with Trump and the Trump campaign to remove anti-Trump tweets.
Trump be in jail.
And promote anti-Biden tweets.
Trump would be in jail.
It would just be every single media. It would be the talk of the year. It would be the story of the year.
You know how many investigations would there be?
It would be completely insane. So let's go to CNN.com. Let's see if they do anything. Here, the first article, how Roosevelt offers an ominous lesson for Trump and the GOP. After Trump announced plans to run in 2024, some said he could provoke the same scenario that Roosevelt triggered in 1912. I don't even know what that means. Here, Trump calls for termination of Constitution.
We know it's not true.
Here, Trump's delay and divert legal strategy runs out of road. Trump's Constitution statement makes George.
Everything's Trump. It's all.
Like,
is that? Could you imagine?
Not a single thing, right? Look, do we see anything?
And by the way, is it even objective here? There's nothing about both sides. It's all anti-Trump. It's anti-Trump.
I can't even see. Like, that's a huge story, is it not? That Twitter was involved.
But you see a CNN, which was a well-respected many, many, many years ago, right? It's all it is anti-Trump.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else.
The only thing that I see on Twitter here is it says trending, Kanye West Twitter. That's the only Kanye West Twitter account has been suspended after Elon Musk has a violated rule against incitement of violence. That's the only thing that I see on an entire CNN's website about Twitter. But that's just crazy.
Anything about Biden, nothing about Hunter Biden, his father, none of that stuff.
Nope. All Trump. How Donald Trump is helping Raphael Warnock. MAGA world keeps losing its efforts to tie up Trump criminal probes in court. Trump's shadow hangs over Herschel Walker.
Could you imagine? Anything they could throw shit against and make it connect.
Literally the top
Oh,
6
Trump's now
stories.
connected to Herschel Walker. Give me a fucking break.
I just don't get it.
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess here's one thing. Elon Musk speaks out on Twitter file release detailing platforms. Okay, so that's the first. That was buried in there. This was posted today.
Yeah, no one's going to that link, by the way.
No, it was buried.
Yeah, it was very bottom.
It was under all these things. It was under Hugh Grant is right about Love Actually. It was under that. That's actually crazy. It's literally right here.
It's fucking
it's right above. A new species of dinosaur might have dived like a duck to catch its prey.
Could you
That's
imagine?
what they're comparing. So they put that story literally between Hugh Grant is right about Love Actually and a new species of dinosaur might have dived like a duck.
Isn't that corruption in and of itself, Bronson?
And then also look right above, a roar of applause, dancing grannies prepare for comeback after tragedy.
Above it.
So it's in those stories, but not all the political stories about
And
China
not in the first page. You got to scroll to the second page.
Yeah, and it's not with China operating hundreds of police stations across the world, which we're going to talk about.
Which is scary
We're
shit.
going to talk about that in the Patreon because I have videos.
Is that not amazing? We allow that. No, it's fucking amazing. We allow it.
What do you mean?
We allow that.
What's going on in China with their own people? What should
No,
we
I
do?
thought these are people in the U.S. The Chinese.
Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But we'll go.
They
into,
allow Chinese police to come in our U.S.
And
to
police
police
their
their
own
people.
citizens.
So when they want to stay after college, they make them fucking go back.
Well, yeah, they do that, and they have spies
That's some
and shit.
fucked up shit. So so we educate them. We can't get our own people, and we educate them, and they have to go back and they learn our ways.
Yeah.
Fucking America's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke.
All right, let's do a fatherly advice. It is a joke. I agree with you, but
Our intro with My Own Island, it still stands true. Don't worry, honey. You're, of course, on my island, baby girl. So cute.
okay. So this is from Danielle. She said, "Hi, John and Braun. Huge fan of the pod and love listening to you guys. I'm writing in for parenting advice from John. My son is 3 years old, and I hope that one day he has the relationship with my husband and that you have with your 3 boys. I admire your family
nice.
so much and want nothing more than to model a similar family dynamic. I grew up in a very controlling household, which has led to a lot of resentment towards my parents. My sisters and I have a relationship with them, but we're not as close as I'd like to be. I love them, but I don't want to raise my son the same way that I was raised. I would love to hear your input on parenting and how I can raise my son to want to be around us when he's older like yours do. Thanks so much."
Hi, Danielle. First of all, thank you very much for listening. Bronny and I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words about me and my boys and our family values and so forth. So I appreciate that. Let's go back about the fact of controlling parents and your resenting your parents. I think you should, the fact that you recognize it and you have a beautiful child and a hopefully loving husband and you get along with your sisters, I would tell you first, forget about the past with your parents. You could just accept it. You have to like it, but don't resent them. Don't live in that past. Don't go down a rabbit hole. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. And life is too short. You can't change what your parents did. You can't change your upbringing. You just have to learn from it. And I always think that things have already been invented. So I always say, which I've done with my kids, and I'm not perfect, and I say to my boys, emulate what you see, what you like, and make sure you don't do what you see, what you don't like, right? So I, had a decent upbringing. I mean, there's a lot of things I think my parents could have done differently and so forth, and there's some things they did which were really beneficial. So I think that what you need to do for the benefit of your child is, number one, you and your husband need to be a unit. You need to talk about what your goals are and how you want to raise your children, and based upon that, and you stick together as a unit. Everybody, what do they say? People like assholes, everyone has them. You're going to get a different opinion from everybody. You and your husband raise your child what you think is best for your child. It does not matter what anyone outside your 4 walls of your house think about it. It's your child, and as long as you and your husband are on the same page, that's important. If you and your husband are not on the same page with something as your kid gets older, it's best that you handle it outside the presence of your child, because it's very important that your children see that you are a team, that you are together. You might disagree. It's behind closed doors, but you can't let your kids see that, because your kids will play one parent against the other, and that will become sort of like create that little crack. You can't, and if your kids see you have this crack in how you want to raise your children, it will constantly splinter. When it comes to raising children, I think that I always say love your kids, but don't love them too much, and that's a very hard balance. What that actually means, I think no is okay. I think that being there and letting your kids, teach them independence, teach them self-worth, is very important for them, because that makes them good, strong human beings. And because everybody's going to encounter problems, they're going to encounter bullying, they're going to encounter some being upset, sad, whatever it is. Let your kids work through that. And I'm sure Bronson will talk more about that, because he has a good view on it. But I think that if you do things with your children all the time, when they're young, there's no discussion. They come with you. Trips, you're their parents. When you support them, they really have no say in that regard. So I think if you do things and make it fun for them, and you listen to them, and you don't rule with an iron fist, and you develop a nice relationship with them, you travel with them, you spend time with them, I think when they get older, they're going to want to spend time with you. I could spend 2 hours talking about this, so I don't want to bore you, but I would like to hear Bronson's view on what it is as a child, which might be great insight for Danielle, because they get a child's perspective of why you and your brothers think you want to, why do you like to hang out with us, and why do you feel you and your siblings have a close relationship with your mother and I, and what was it that contributed to that you can give advice to Danielle and her husband from a child's standpoint, so they can understand their audience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely most of what you said. It's because you guys made an effort to make relationships with us, right? Like when you get a new dog, they say you have to like make an effort to bond with the dog so that you guys like get along. Otherwise, you're just like going to be strangers. And I do know a lot of people my age, or like when I was growing up, there were people who like whose parents never hung out with them or like never did things with them. So they just never were able to form like we have a relationship, a father-son relationship, but we also have like a relationship where we're like do things like that I would do with my friends, right? Because
I agree.
Like, but I definitely know some people where their dads just were like, either the dads weren't interested in that or they just never made an effort or they were too busy working, whatever, so that the kids never formed that relationship of like, oh, my dad's actually kind of cool. I can hang out with him in this way or this way. Like when we were growing up, you took me on a ski trip, just me and you. Mom took me to Paris, just me and her and Bryce. You know, it's like you guys did things with us that was able to form relationships independently with each of you. I'm pointing here because Mom's sitting there, for those listening. And also then you made an effort to do it as a family. You were always like, we're always doing family trips, and no matter what you're not missing it. We're always doing family dinners, and no matter what, you can't miss it. Or we're always
dinners are an important thing, don't you agree?
Yeah,
family dinners.
Or just even like we're always, if it's a holiday, don't even think about like not missing it or whatever. So then those things, when you're 5 to 15, it's like it's reinforcing in your brain that it's like, oh yeah, my family, I actually get along with them because like we had dinner and we all had fun and we laughed and we, you know. So then when you're 25, you're like, oh yeah, of course I get along with my family. Like they're my friends as well as my family. Because when I think about going to dinner with my friends, I want to go because it's like fun. We laugh, we joke, and we tell funny stories. It's the same with the family. But you guys made that a point. There are definitely plenty of people that I know where their families just were like, everyone was doing their own thing. Everyone was around the world doing just like, you know, it wasn't a priority to like come home for holidays. Family dinners, just like they didn't even think about that, you know. So you just have to make it a priority that you're going to form relationships with your children independent of just being your disciplinarian authority figure.
And the disciplinary authoritarian figure is also okay, though.
No, you need that. And that's why I'm saying you need to form relationships separate of that, because that relationship should be there and strong. But if that's the only relationship you have with your kid, what kind of relationship is that, right? If your kid only thinks of you as like the disciplinarian, that's not fun. You want them to think of you as like someone they love and someone they
trust,
want to like
count on
and like confide in, and you want those relationships as well. And so, yeah.
So and that's nice
the
to
other
hear.
thing,
Go ahead.
Lastly, which I've said on the podcast many times, is like the firm but fair is definitely helpful too. Because I always, even as a parent, you need to be a disciplinarian, but even in the disciplinarian, if the kid constantly thinks that their life is like unfair, or they're being mistreated, or like they don't, like it's right, if one brother is getting much more than the other, or one sibling or whatever, or I don't know, if it's just unfair, then the kid's not going to respect your viewpoints. And you're going to be like, but that's so weak, the kid doesn't need. I feel like it's very important for in any hierarchy relationship where there's like someone who's in charge of the other, a boss employee, a parent kid, a teacher student. If there's not respect between both ways, but like if you don't respect your boss, you're not going to give a shit about what they're telling you to do. So as a kid, as a parent, you want your kid to respect you, because then they're going to actually want to listen to you. Otherwise, they're just going to be like an angsty teen and give you a hard time. Right. And then you're going to constantly be fighting.
So first of all, that was very nice what you said, and I appreciate what you said, and I always like to hear the insight coming from our kids. But the one thing, and they're all great things you said, but the one thing I really got out of, which I think about is, and this was a lot, your mom was good with this, was that family dinners. She always said, what time are you going to be home? And we always wait. She always waited for us, and we always had dinner together as a family. And I think that's a huge, huge thing. And I think that's a lost art. I think that families need to eat together. We never had the TV on. We never had TVs in our kids' bedrooms, Danielle, just so you know. I think that's a very important thing. We were always down in the family room watching TV together as a family. Having kids with their laptop and their phone, whatever.
Yeah. If everyone's distracted and doing their own shit,
you can't build the bonds. You can't build the bonds. So I'm telling you right now, not having the laptops or the TVs in their rooms, and family dinners. I'm telling you, it builds such an important bond. And also the holidays, like Bronson said, there was never a thought in their mind when it came to family vacations or things during the weekends or actually holidays where like we're gonna do something separate.
Because since we were 2 years old, it was
That's just the way it was.
But if you floundered on it and changed every year, and 1 year when we were 5 or like when we were 11,
you don't have to go.
You can go with your friends or whatever, or it doesn't matter. Then when we're 25, we'd be like,
you own that shit.
We'd know we could get away with not coming. But now it's just like I don't even think like I know Thanksgiving. I know I'm just always going to be here no matter what.
So the consistency and the husband and wife being a unit is very important. The children fit into your life and you're not changing your life for them. Having family dinners, no TVs and laptops in the bedroom, family holidays, spending time together, being a parent.
Try
but
to
also
be friends with your kid, not in a friends like equal way, but like try to form a friendship with your children as well. If I don't know, try to find similar interests, or like how the fact that like we would go on independent trips together, I feel like is a good thing.
That's nice. I didn't know that. I think that's nice to hear.
Or like how you would like come on my school or orchestra trips.
I always did all those things with the kids. Right.
That shit helps you bond as people.
Right.
Like even if if you're with a stranger and you guys are like going on a trip together, you bond. So like going on a trip with your own kid is like, of course you're gonna bond.
You're right. That's a good point. One last thing, and then we'll wrap this up. What is it that you found as a child?
Oh God, I really gotta go.
Okay, we'll end it. We'll end it then.
Yeah.
No big deal. All right, Danielle. Thanks for that.
I really have to go.
He has a film shoot he has to do. Danielle, thanks for reaching out to us. A great question. We hope this helped a lot of our listeners. We love you guys. We got a lot more to talk about on Patreon.
And if you're still listening an hour and 15 minutes in, definitely go to the Patreon.
And how do they do that again, Bronny?
Patreon.com/DaddyIssuesPod. We'll talk about all the China shit.
We got a lot more to talk about.
All the Balenciaga shit, which is like crazy and really interesting.
Yeah, we just scratched the surface.
Surface too.
We could talk about this for 3 hours. I mean, we just literally scratched the surface and surface. All right, bye everybody. Love you, Bronny. You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.